In the previous video, we saw how we can work with Z-spheres and also Z-sketch. And how can we work in a combination with those two tools or also with one or the other. So we started from a simple Z-sphere template that we can find in the Lightbox in ZBRUSH, and then we proceed by creating with the Z-sketch the rough shape of our character design or whatever subject, and we define kind of the, again, overall shape with not too many details. We are starting to move into more detail sculpting little by little, but we are still in the rough shape, in the concept design of your model of the character. So by going down into the sub tool, we can also create different or recreate different structure using remesh or ZBRUSH. And also we started to work again with the more complexity here, and we just created with ZBRUSH more polygons, and then we were able to work with more details, and we started to play around with the snake hook brush and also the other brushes that will help you to create like these extrusions from the main mesh. So we are again going from something more draft to something more detail. And we also saw how we can use Sculpting mode. We're gonna see it also in this video, and we're also gonna talk about Dynamesh, which is the most interesting let's say evolution of ZBrush so far, because it will help you to recreate your mesh in a dynamic way. So we're gonna make some example again. And so we started to use the snake hook, but also some clay brushes that we can find here. Clay brushes are really helpful to define the details of your character, as well as the standard brush. Standard brush works also pretty fine. And also you can change the material. You can take any material that you want here to see better the mesh that you are sculpting out. Now I want to go back to the gorilla project that we started in another video, because I want to show you again some other tips and tricks and useful tools to go from kind of a draft model into something more defined using, again, the main brushes here. Now before we actually start, I want to do a little bit of panoramic tour inside the brushes, just to explain to you that you have brushes that are really from many different operations, many different things. We can start here, and let's see, for example, on the B we have bevel, which will help you like to bevel the corners. And then you have sculpting like blob or something, let's say like chisel, that will help you to work more in on the surface. So you have sculpting tools or sculpting brushes for details to add, you can see, parts on your character, on your mesh. And then you have like more shaping or reshaping tools. So chisels here, you can see they will help you to add like a little bit of details like horns and nails and teeth and eyes and so on. We also have other possibilities we're gonna see later. And then you have clays, which are like medium detail brush. Again, it's not like for really fine details, but it's kind of in a middle way between the reshape or reshaping brushes and the really fine detailing brushes. Then you have brushes for clothes that will help you to work on clothes. And here also we can find some other clay, like clay tubes. We're gonna have a look at those and try to use them later. And then you have clipping brushes or cutting brushes or trimming brushes. They all do kind of a similar operation, which is trimming out parts. So you can either add or subtract. That's the main two operations that you probably want to do on your model. So get rid of something by subtracting or cutting or using booleans or clipping out. either you want to do that or you want to add. So you may want to add like airs, or you want to add arms, or you want to add details and little features and so on. So also curves tube here, it's really interesting if you want to add some extra like tubular elements. And again, we're gonna see this later on. You can use this for the arms, for example, if you want to add arms or tentacles or things like that. Let's go to the D. Here we have the dam, which is more for like creating superficial, you know, kind of a scratches, or like carving out small parts. So it's more for detailing again. And also all those that you see like that they work on the surface, they are usually used for detailing, like flakes as well. And then you have, these are more like for the general shape, like flatten. We saw how to use flatten. This is to create more rigid forms, rigid shapes. And fold, that's for like surface again. And form soft also is to create soft additional shape to your character. And then we have all these set of groom brushes. So if you want to groom, you want to use airs and a fur, you can use those. Again, this is in H. We have H polish, which is for again like creating more polished surface. And you can see how many those are there. Now this one on the eye, I think these are probably the most interesting in this moment, because this will help us to add stuff like nose or hand or a foot or a ear. So it's gonna help to add features to our character and more fine details. But we also find inflat again, which is to kind of increase or decrease the size of parts of the model. And again, on the K here we have knife, which is again for cutting out, getting rid of part of the mesh. And also layers for layering. Magnifying again is to increase, decrease the size of a part of your model. And again, we have mask. We already saw how we can use the masks in ZBRUSH. So we have a whole set of masking brushes here. And of course, move and move topological, move elastic. These are really important to, again, work on the rough shape as we saw, and also how we're gonna see again in this video. Noise, nudge, this will work more on the surface, again, for detailing. And then we have, again, these are patterns for the surface, and pan also we can use for the sketch. And planar, again, this is to, you can see there is gonna polish and make things more flatten. And we have paint, we have a lot of like snake shape and smooth, to smooth things out. And you know, they're pretty representative. The icons there are pretty representative of what the brush will do. So you're gonna familiarize with all these different brushes. And of course we have the standard brush. By using the standard brush, you can do like 50% of the work that you need to do, by the way. So I think I use for 90% of the time the move brush, the standard brush, the inflate, the transpose. So the really basic brushes. And then I move on to the others when I need to go more in detail. Now you also have, of course, the brush panel, and you can double click on the little arrows on the left to open up the brush panel on the left side if you want to keep it there and use it. And you can go in the lightbox and see all the brushes organized by theme or by feature. So this is pretty good to understand how they are like grouped together. So if you want to go in a certain area like move, you will go to the move folder, or if you want to slash, you will go in the slash folder, or like create scales and work with clay. So everything is well organized in the lightbox. Definitely have a look at that. And also we have other